Chef Rob, and I don't want to get anything wrong, so I just want to read a quick bit of his bio, and then we don't have time to read the whole thing, but during the course of the interview, we will get into everything. But
Right.
I just want to read this first paragraph. Now it says, extensively trained at the Culinary Institute of America in New York, Chef Robert Gale has demonstrated his superior talents and his creative abilities for more than 15 years to some of America's most recognizable celebrities. And you all know all these names: Russell Simmons, P. Diddy, L.A. Reid, Jennifer Lopez, Akon, Dikembe Mutombo, Lethan Flowers, and the list, I'm sure, goes on and on and on. Without
yes.
further ado, we are welcome to have with us Chef Rob.
Welcome.
And I just have to preference this to say, I know a lot of you are saying, where's the food? Unfortunately, in this studio, we cannot bring food into this studio, so that is the reason. But in the future, we hope to go on location so you can see the food. And even more than that, when you come visit, you would not only see the food, you would taste the food.
But you know what? He brought the aroma of food with him.
Oh, definitely.
So it's tickling our noses
I was
right
going to say,
now.
and that's good and bad because I'm hungry right now because
I
of
know.
that. But
Okay. Now, Chef Rob, what makes a good chef?
What makes a good
Good
chef
chef,
is consistency. You have to have a knack for good food, quality food.
Right.
Being from Jamaica, West Indies, I came to the States when I was 11 years old. And, you come in, I grew up in New York, and when you see all the different kind of food that you're not used to, your mind start wandering, and you try to create and put stuff together.
So, in other words, you have infusion of Jamaican and different cultural.
Exactly.
Oh, aha. Okay,
Exactly.
that sounds good. Dedrick, you
well,
look.
now I'm just thinking now, as I read in the bio,
Right.
you
Right.
mentioned New York, as you just mentioned New York. So what led you down here to Atlanta?
Well, I came down with Sean Puff Daddy Combs. I worked
Okay.
for him in New York, Justin's,
Okay.
for 4 years. And he single-handedly picked me out in the late of '97. And he told me, Rob, you have to go down to Atlanta to get the other Justin's going. And without further ado, I jumped on the next flight and I'm here. So did a 10-year anniversary with Justin just last month. So
Wow,
it was
been open now?
10
I
years.
guess
Oh my
wow,
gosh.
time flies.
Okay, so you're behind the Justins.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Well,
originally,
I've eaten there many a time. So, good food.
Thank you.
Good food. Yes.
Now, what would you say is the hardest part of being a chef? I mean, I know it's something that you really enjoy, but, there's always a hard part.
Well, for me, because it's my passion, I love to do it. It's not hard for me. I mean, I dream it. I want to get up every morning and just get in the restaurant and cook and, entertain and meet my customers and just talk to them, get them excited about coming to, a wonderful Caribbean restaurant in a relaxed environment. So the only thing that might be a little bit strenuous is just the long hours when you have to work 15, 16 hours a day,
Okay.
which, I'm so used to it. I've been doing it from I was 13 years old, so it doesn't matter.
So I understand the passion, but what really started the passion? What
Well,
would you
I have
say?
to give credit to my mother, of course, and my older sister, Jackie. She was the one that really just got me into the kitchen. I was a greedy kid, and I was
Okay.
the fourth of 5 kids, and
Okay.
I was the one. And growing up in Jamaica, you have to catch a chicken for Sunday
yes.
dinner because we have stewed chicken every Sunday.
know
So
that.
I was the one
I
that
know
had to
that.
catch the chicken and kill the chicken
Oh,
and pluck the
catch
chicken.
it.
Yeah, so I was the one that was always in the pot, picking out stuff. So that really got me into the restaurant business.
Okay, that sounds
Yeah, I
fascinating.
was gonna say,
Catching
something
the
because of that,
chicken.
you could even have a track career too.
Oh yeah.
Try to catch a chicken because they run zigzag.
Oh yeah.
Run straight.
Now you branched away from Justin's to your own. What triggered that?
Well, I always wanted to be able to put Caribbean food on another level. I wanted to for people to look at Caribbean food and take it as it's not peasant food. I want them to really appreciate our food, our culture, and the type of stuff that we have to do. So because I went to CIA, which is one of the best culinary schools in the country, I used that influence and my background of Caribbean food to be able to create a wonderful cuisine and be able to incorporate different region, different country. I use a lot of Asian influence in my food,
Really?
Italian influence. So I'm able to combine and infuse all the different culture to make it one. And you guys will see the menu, and if you guys come to the restaurant, you'll be able to see from the minute you walk through the door, you'll see the wonderful restaurant, the ambiance, I mean, just raw, natural color of the restaurant. And then once you get to see the menu, you know, your mind just start wondering.
Oh, that sounds interesting. So we're going to take the camera, we're going to take the crew
definitely.
there,
Right.
and we will interview you in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
And you can show us how to make some infuse the Caribbean.
Yeah, you'll catch me in my
Flavors.
natural background over
Okay.
there, you know.
Okay.
And something they can do right now, what is your website? Because while they have the TV on this corner of the room, they can go to the computer in that corner and still be checking us out, but at the same time, look at your restaurant online. So what is your website?
The website is Chef Rob's Catering. No, I'm sorry. It's chefrobscafe.com, which is CHEFROBSCAFE.com.
And excuse me, you mentioned catering.
Yes.
You do cater.
I do a lot of catering. That's why I spit it out so fast. But I do catering just about every day.
Okay.
Most of my catering come from my pharmaceutical reps. I do a lot of wedding. I do a lot of function, baby showers, divorce parties. I mean, you name it.
Divorce parties?
You name it. I have a nice little area in the back of the restaurant where actually we have 3 parties tonight booked. But we have people that calls in just about every week, and they book out that back area because it's a little VIP area. It's my little sanctuary right there.
All right. So, with this economic situation right now, how is your business, and are people really enjoying to come out and eat more?
My prices are very competitive for the area that I'm in. But what I do for a lot of my regular customers, every now and then I have to bail them out.
Right.
You know, so, you know, I have a little stimulus package at the restaurant, so we bail them out.
Really?
You know, we
Okay.
buy them a drink here and there. We'll, buy them a dinner or lunch. We've been offering lunch card, which allow you to come in and buy a lunch card for $35, and that allow you to come in 4 times and
That's
dine.
great.
So when it breaks down, it's roughly around $8 per person. But you know, we've been staying competitive. We've been doing a lot of different stuff. A lot of my customers, what they do, they market for me. So instead of me spending a lot of money on advertisement to get it in, you know, once I go out and I do the right thing, I'm very consistent and persistent in what I do.
Right.
People just automatically send business my way.
Referral marketing, that is the best
Word of mouth.
sort of marketing.
That's the best.
That's right.
That's the
Yes,
best. But you know, my name and logo is on everything. My cars, my van, my jacket.
Name and logo. Is
Chef,
that your
Chef
logo?
Rob's, yes.
Yes.
So I mean, I
Okay.
plaster it all wherever I go. Wherever I
Okay.
go, it's just plastered. So
Okay, I need my glasses. What does it? Your logo is,
Chef Rob's,
and it looks like a coconut tree there.
yes.
Ah, gotta have the coconut tree. Is
Yes.
is that a steel pan next to it?
This is
No,
Chef
no.
Rob.
Oh, on the logo,
on
on the
your
logo itself.
logo.
No, it's
Oh,
okay.
See, marketing.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, that's a good thing. Marketing, very good.
Nonstop.
Well,
I was gonna say, you
was gonna
mentioned the
say.
area that you're in. Let the audience know exactly where you are.
Well, I'm located just a third of a mile out of off of 285 in beautiful Sandy Spring in the Parkside Shopping Center, and it's a very diverse neighborhood. You have all people from different walks of life that comes by and enjoy the restaurant. Because I'm a Jamaican restaurant, it just doesn't attract Jamaican people. I get just about everyone, you know, to come and dine in my restaurant because it's just a beautiful, relaxed environment.
so do they like oxtail?
They love oxtail. Actually, I just cooked 40 pounds before I left.
Really?
That's why I'm
And
smelling
he
like
has some in his car for us. Isn't that nice?
Oh, really? Well, we're about to go to a break, and I'm heading to
the car.
Actually, we really are on plane, but we are really about to go
Going
to a
to
break. But is there anything that we haven't asked you yet that you just want the audience to know, or you want to reiterate?
Well, I just want them to be able to go to the website, which is chefrobscafe.com, and just look at it, you know, take a look at, read my bio just to see the extensive work that I have put in over the last, actually it's 23 years now
Wow.
that I've been in the business. So I'm very passionate about what I'm doing, you know. I'm still young, but
You started when you were 2. I know, you saw that look on my face. You started when you were 2, right?
you know what's funny, I have a son that's 17 years old, and he's in the business. Actually, he's running a restaurant right now while I'm away.
Really?
But actually, I hate to cut this off, but we're
Okay.
running out of time. Stay tuned with us. We're just taking a quick break, and we'll be right back with you.
Car à cette heure, ma vie semble prendre un tournant. Les tourments font suite au rebondissement. mange. Mais au fond, ai-je vraiment changé? Je dois constater que pour moi-même, je reste un danger.
MCAI Atlanta is a community of professionals devoted to the art and business of media communications. Our members work in all areas of traditional and new media. And although the tools and technology may vary, we all strive for the same goals: to teach, to market, to motivate, to educate, and often to inspire. And MCAI supports its members in so many different ways.
This organization is always forward-looking.
MCAI allows my employees to grow.
Coming to the meetings gets my creative juices going.
Where you can network with other people.
I meet people from all over the country, all over the world.
There's an outreach to students.
I think people should join the organization because of the relationships.
Valuable relationships that pay off.
MCAI is a connection place.
It's a whole network of people that have your back.
Whatever our industry segment, we seek to clarify through visual media the spirit, that emotional link which connects one human being with another. MCAI enables us to succeed in that endeavor.
My area of expertise is really in corporate video production and broadcast. But I've been able through MCAI to meet people on the internet side. I'm meeting people that are in technology development, all kinds of different aspects of the business and outside.
You get to meet people that are doing things with some new technologies that you may not be familiar with.
From a business development standpoint, the organization helps me through creating relationships with people in MCAI.
I've found that getting involved is the best way to get things back from an organization.
The MCAI really has been an important part of professional growth.
I started with MCAI as a student, and through the years it's been great for my professional development, and it's helped me a lot in my career.
Our industry is always changing. When I come to an MCAI meeting, I find out who's doing what, how things are being done, and how our industry is changing.
Media professionals need to know that the MCAI is the organization in Atlanta. There's really no other organization like the MCAI.
And it means a lot of company exposure and personal exposure as well.
MCAI is a great organization, and you should join.
It's a fun place to be.
As you've heard from some of our other members, there are many benefits to an MCAI membership.
Media convergence,
recognition,
community service,
education.
But they don't mean a thing if you don't join us.
So there it is, MCAI Atlanta, a place to grow and network in our constantly evolving careers. Can you afford not to join us?
Mon cœur est en naufrage, je suis qu'un aveugle qu'ils prennent pour guide, rien qu'un homme que le diable a pris pour cible. Mes péchés sont nombreux, tellement nombreux que je peux pas les dénombrer. Je peux qu'espérer que Dieu me pardonne, qu'il m'accorde le repentir avant que ma dernière heure sonne. J'écris peut-être l'un de mes textes les plus poignants, car à cette heure ma vie semble prendre un tournant. Les tourments font suite au rebondissement, comme quoi, toi, comme moi.
Hi, welcome back. I just want to tell you the Financial Wizard is here in our studio. Yes, the Financial Wizard, Ruthven Linkwai from Trinidad and Tobago. He has his own company called DevTech, and he is here tonight to give us some great information, tax saving tips. Ruthven?
Thank you very much for having me, Karen.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. So you tell us what is going on with the 2008 taxes. How can we help out?
Well, 2008 is an interesting year, but 2009 will be a very interesting year more so. 2008 is gone, but there are certain things that one can do prior to August 15th, or April 15th, which is the due date for tax returns to be sent in. People can still contribute to the IRS, maximum of $5,000 for individuals, 6,000 for people who are over 50. You can still contribute to that, and it will be applied to your 2008 tax return. But the important thing right now is make sure that in preparing your taxes, that you are very careful, very particular, very meticulous in how you do it. If you feel that you cannot handle it yourself, please consult a tax accountant. One of the reasons I'm suggesting this is the IRS is they have been increasing their field audits over the past few years, and 2008 we expect that the IRS will be out in their full force auditing individuals, auditing businesses.
I'm sweating now.
In fact, one of my
I think we're all sweating in here.
One of my clients called me a few weeks ago and told me that the tax auditors were in their place doing a SNAP audit. So make sure that you have all your receipts, all your documents in order. If you cannot handle it yourself, hire a tax accountant to do it.
Now, so let's say I do it myself. The liability is on me.
That's correct.
If I have a tax accountant like yourself, the liability is on you.
The liability is shared.
It's shared.
It is shared.
Okay.
Share the blame.
A tax accountant could only prepare the taxes of an individual or business based on the information presented to them.
Okay.
So if you withhold information, of course, the liability will also be on you as an individual.
Okay.
And I know you mentioned some differences, well, more so over the past few years, but in particular to this past year, what are some important changes, if any, that have taken place?
Well, in 2008, you have the IRS, which is the individual retirement savings plans, increasing from 4,500 to 5,000 for individuals, and for those above 50 to $6,000. The first-time homeowners credit, buyer's credit, was increased from $7,500 in 2007 to $8,000 in 2008. Likewise, the lifetime learning credit and the Hope credit for students, that was also increased in terms of the income of individuals from $47,000 to $48,000. So there are quite a few changes that have taken place in 2008, and indeed this year, 2009, certain changes, in fact quite a few changes will also be taking place, more so with the introduction of the stimulus package.
Speaking of the stimulus package.
The hot topic right now.
Yes, the hot topic. What is the key behind that? What is it that we have to understand, we as taxpayers?
Okay. As we all know, as we speak here now, the Senate is in the process of fine-tuning a $789 billion stimulus package. Right. The intention is to try to kickstart or jumpstart the economy, to get jobs going, to get people spending, to get the housing market back up and running. One of the key triggers to that stimulus package is what is called a refundable tax credit, whereby individuals will be provided a $400 per year tax credit. $800 for joint income filers. The purpose of this is to try to get income back into the hands of individuals so that they can spend. Based on the estimates, it is projected that individuals will probably have an additional $15 per week added to their paycheck. Which will hopefully this will help them to spend and also to help stimulate the economy.
She heard that $15 per week.
$15 per week. I'm sorry.
I know.
Just a couple of gallons of gas.
But look at it this way: if you go to your boss and say, "Look, I would like to have an increase in salary of $400,"
right?
He will laugh at you. If on the other hand, you get a stimulus package that increases your tax credit by $400, that's a benefit.
Okay.
You know? So
yes, I guess cumulative.
Right,
yes,
I was going to
cumulative.
say,
Yes, it does.
Everybody together. I mean, that has to be an effect on our economy.
A good effect.
Another important point: the homeowners buyers credit. That is being increased in the stimulus package to $8,000 from $7,500. And one of the key sweeteners, if you want to call it that, is whereas before the homeowners credit was a sort of a loan whereby it's charged back to you over 15 years. Yes. In this case, you are relieved of it, so you do not need to charge it back to your your tax return over the years.
I know this is not related to taxes, but you're saying new homeowners. Right now, there's a lot of people who are out of work. Credit is their credit score is deteriorating. Who is really going to qualify for these homes? You know, you want to stimulate the economy, but how could you stimulate the economy? One, yes, you need to get more money back, lending money back to the bank so we could borrow the money, but our credit is not good. We're going to be disqualified. So how is all that going to work, really?
No, this is interesting because people tend to be confused. The stimulus package is completely different from the bailout package that's being provided to the banks at present.
Right.
$350 billion. Two separate things. It is hoped that this bailout package would help the banks to start back lending, which would then help the homeowners, those who are in foreclosures or near foreclosures, to refinance in some way. Those who are interested in buying to have loans provided to them at a lower rate, et cetera, et cetera. So that package is geared towards that sort of objective. The stimulus package, $789 billion, is geared towards kickstarting or jumpstarting the economy. It goes hand in hand, but one is more focused, the other one is more general. You know, in terms of how do individuals come out of the foreclosure situation, that is a very tricky issue, because if you follow the debate in Congress and Senate over the past few weeks, there are many people who believe that the people who are hurting the most have not been assisted in either of the two packages.
Right. True.
Right, and this is quite true. What started the slide in the economy was the foreclosures.
Correct.
Yet, if you look at the stimulus package, close to about 1 or 2% of the funds going are directed towards foreclosures. So the question just begs itself: will this stimulus package really do what it's supposed to do? And up to today, on the news and the discussions on certain on this topic, many people have doubts. But I'm an eternal optimist, and I'm hoping that if spending is increased and people jobs are beginning to increase, hopefully it will help to jumpstart the economy. Probably in the next, perhaps by the end of the year, beginning of next year.
What do you think about resetting, let's say, the credit system? What do you think that the government, what can the government do to, say, regulate the credit companies, the 3 credit bureaus? Because the way they do things, it's kind of hurting the economy too. Our standards are hurting the
That's a very interesting question. And we have to look at it in a general context. The system is broken. There's no doubt about that. And we cannot use a sort of a patch approach to dealing with it. It has to be all-encompassing. It has to be holistic. And we have to look at how we assess people's credit scores, whether that system is adequate to the situation we are faced with now. We have to look at the standards of allocating credit. When someone goes into a bank to borrow funds to purchase a home, the criteria that we used years previously, do those things hold today? The answer is no. You know, so it's a very interesting question, because just throwing money into the situation will not, in a way, create any serious change unless certain fundamental structures of the financial system and how things are done in the banking system are changed.
Now I was going to say, you mentioned on the question before last how very little focus was put on foreclosures. Can you think of any reason why they did that? Because of course it's not because they're not aware, because that's the biggest thing out. Just your personal opinion.
If you look at the people who drive the economy, who drive the leaders of the economy, the leaders of government, they belong to a certain, if you want to call it, elite group within our society.
Right. Okay.
And the reality is, they seek the interests of theirs.
Okay.
In the banking sector, for example, the people who created the problems in the banking sector are the ones who are getting the most amount of funds
Right.
out of both the stimulus
Yes.
package and the bailout package. Right. So here it is, you are giving to someone who created the problems funds to fix it.
Right.
Unfortunately, they're not fixing it, and those who are suffering the most are not being able to benefit from these funds. You know, so we live in a society, and it's a political, economic situation. We live in a society that.
Okay, and I was gonna say, not a country. We're gonna have to take a break. So in 30 seconds, is there anything that you want to just recap or mention that we haven't spoke about?
Basically, I would like to advise people. This is tax time, to be careful. Try not to take any chances in doing your tax returns. If you have a problem, consult a tax accountant.
Okay, and again, thank you for being on. Please stay tuned. We have my preventive health segment coming on next. And any of those I know everybody want to trim down in their finances. Now we're going to talk about trimming down in your weight. Please stay tuned after this PSA.
Je peux qu'espérer que Dieu me pardonne, qu'il m'accorde le repentir avant que ma dernière heure sonne. J'écris peut-être l'un de mes textes les plus poignants, car à cette heure ma vie semble prendre un tournant. Les tourments font suite au rebondissement, comme toi comme moi.
MCAI Atlanta is a community of professionals devoted to the art and business of media communications. Our members work in all areas of traditional and new media. And although the tools and technology may vary, we all strive for the same goals: to teach, to market, to motivate, to educate, and often to inspire. And MCAI supports its members in so many different ways.
This organization is always forward-looking.
MCAI allows my employees to grow.
Coming to the meetings gets my creative juices going.
Where you can network with other people.
I meet people from all over the country, all over the world.
There's an outreach to students.
I think people should join the organization because of the relationships.
Valuable relationships that pay off.
MCAI
is a connection place.
It's a whole network of people that have your back.
Whatever our industry segment, we seek to clarify through visual media the spirit, that emotional link which connects one human being with another. MCAI enables us to succeed in that endeavor.
My area of expertise is really in corporate video production and broadcast. But I've been able through MCAI to meet people on the internet side. I'm meeting people that are in technology development, all kinds of different aspects of the business and outside.
You get to meet people that are doing things with some new technologies that you may not be familiar with.
From a business development standpoint, the organization helps me through creating relationships with people in MCAI.
I found that getting involved is the best way to get things back from an organization.
The MCAI really has been an important part of professional growth.
I started with MCAI as a student, and through the years it's been great for my professional development, and it's helped me a lot in my career.
Our industry is always changing. When I come to an MCAI meeting, I find out who's doing what, how things are being done, and how our industry is changing.
Media professionals need to know that the MCAI is the organization in Atlanta. There's really no other organization like the MCAI.
And it means a lot of company exposure and personal exposure as well.
MCAI is a great organization, and you should join.
It's a fun place to be.
As you've heard from some of our other members, there are many benefits to an MCAI membership.
Media convergence.
Recognition.
Community service.
Education.
But they don't mean a thing if you don't join us.
So there it is, MCAI Atlanta, a place to grow and network in our constantly evolving careers. Can you afford not to join us?
Mes fautes sont lourdes car mes défauts sont graves. Je suis venu en...
Well, welcome back to My Preventive Health, the second section of the Caribbean Report. For the last several weeks, we've been discussing preventive health measures, things that you can do to keep yourself healthy, to catch medical problems before they catch you. Last week, we chatted with you about colon cancer prevention, and we mentioned the fact that black women in America seem to have a very high incidence of colon polyps, as much as 80%. Today we are very fortunate to have with us another beautiful black lady, and Dr. Robin Hall, who is a principal in the school system, and Dr. Mack, our co-host. Dr. Mack, how are you doing?
Very well.
And Robin, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Good. And today we are going to be discussing the problem that is of major importance to Americans, the problem of weight control. And you are the heroine in the area of weight control. You're a professional woman, a mother, a wife, everything. And yet you were able to solve a problem that most women cannot solve, which is, Dr. Mack tells me you've lost almost 50 pounds on...
Actually, correction, a little over 50.
That's
actually
close to 70.
Wow,
yeah, so,
that is...
50 is an understatement.
Congratulations, that is awesome.
Thank
now,
you.
tell me, how do you juggle all these problems and still be able to do this?
Well, I had to make a commitment that I was going to do something for myself. I remember having a lot of digestive problems, and you kept telling me, you have got to get this weight off, you have got to get this weight off. And I heard you, but I really didn't hear you, until my medical conditions got to the point where I knew that it was time for me, at your admonishment, to do something about my weight. So time was always an issue for me. Right. Just finding time during the course of the day, because if you're not cooking or preparing meals or at work, and as a principal, I work long hours, and my schedule is very hectic.
And you were doing your PhD at the same time. That was incredible.
PhD, right, on my doctorate.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So you have to, at one point, you just have to decide, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this for me.
That's fantastic.
Now, Dr. Hall, now being an African American woman, what do you think there may be some challenges in the types of food that you eat, or anything that you've seen that kind of contributed to the weight gain, and how hard was it for the weight loss and the cravings that you had?
Well, typically, we like to eat a lot of fried foods, and the way you prepare the meals, you have a tendency to use fats in turn. Even if you're eating vegetables, for instance, collard greens, if you put bacon fat in it, or any kind of fat like that, then it's taken away from the nutritional value, and you're actually eating more fat. And I tell you one thing that I absolutely loved were hot wings. And even though they're little, they carry a lot of fat.
Absolutely.
So those kinds of nutritional habits that I had, and not really cooking at home. So I was eating out a lot of chicken wings, a lot of salads but they were fried chicken salads. And so even wraps carry a lot of fat. People don't know that, but you think you're eating healthy, but you're not. So one of the main things I had to do was to start cooking. And I had guidance from Dr. Mack in doing that, and so I started, but with the time constraint, I said, I'm too tired to cook when I get home. So I had to cook for the week during the weekend. So I would cook a couple of meats, couple of vegetables. My husband still eats starch. I don't really eat starch anymore, but I would do brown rice and yellow rice, not white rice. And so that helped a lot. So planning is key when you are really trying to manage your weight and manage your intake. You can't allow time not to have anything to eat, and you have to resort to whatever's there. That's how you get into trouble.
Well, I know that there are a lot of ladies out there who are seeing you and saying, how can I do this? Dr. Mack, tell us a little bit about the program that you use to help Dr. Hall manage this weight loss.
The program is pretty much how the program incorporates into your lifestyle.
What's the name of it?
It's TABS, Trim and Beautiful Bodies. And at this point, it's burning fat. You're looking at the burned fat and not muscle mass. and how to do age-appropriate exercising. We don't want you to be in a triathlon, you know,
Right.
the Olympics in the 2010 or what have
Right.
you.
Right.
And that's how the program is geared
Right.
towards.
So I gathered what you did was that you laid out a complete program with Dr. Mack that consisted of what you should eat.
Yes.
Yeah, an exercise
Yes,
regimen and so on.
absolutely.
When most people think of dieting, they think of boring stuff. Was this boring?
No, it was exciting for me. Dr. Mack shared menus with me, and he said, and he explicitly said, now you don't have to lock yourself in, and you don't have to eat the same thing every day, because that's what I was doing. You know, I just established a menu, and I just ate that every day. He said, oh no, don't do that. You need to enjoy, you know, choices. So that no boredom at all. It gave me different exercises, and so I was able to go to the gym and.
So you had some guidance. You really. Well,
yes,
that's
I needed it because initially I was not consistent. And Dr. Mack would call me, okay, you haven't been in, you know, I need to see you. So, you know, even though initially I didn't take it and run off with it, he was patient with me, and he, you know, would call me and let me know, okay, I haven't seen you. So that made me say, okay, he's really rooting for me to do this. So and then I started feeling bad. I said, okay, I need to show up.
I always throw in the guilt factor.
Right. And how often, Dr. Mack, do you follow the patients on this regimen?
I try to span it out every 2 weeks that I'll have them come in and see me. And then this way we kind of track and how to graph everything to see where you are and from the day one where you started.
Right.
And usually that positive feedback increases and to make that willing more.
Right.
That you want to go out there and do what you want to do and eat right. And like I wanted to ask you how much exercise people are really scared about that. And they don't, they don't have the time, especially in this day and age, they don't have the time to go to the gym or they don't have the money for a gym. What did you do in pertinence of the exercise factor, and what was it that made you keep on track? Because I wasn't next to you on the treadmill or anything else. So what was it that made you do that?
You know what? I had the food part down, but I was not losing the way I could have because I did not have the exercise piece there. And as you know, every time I met with you, you say, "Are you walking? Are you doing?" You know, he'd give me a no, not yet. He said, "You've got to get this exercise piece. You've got to get this exercise piece." So. My daughter came home during the summer, and she had a personal trainer. And I was on vacation at this time, so I didn't have the work factor to worry about. So she would get up at 4 o'clock every morning and be at the gym at 5 o'clock a.m.
Disciplined young lady.
Right, and she went from a size 14 to a size 4.
Wow.
So I watched this transformation. I watched it. I watched her determination, her diligence, her commitment. So during the summer, she started the same thing. I said, well, I don't have to worry about going to work. Let me start going with you.
Fantastic.
So she did the same thing with me that she had done with her personal trainer. And by the time she left, I was in a routine. And so I have kept the routine. You know, I continue to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm at the gym at 5. I take my clothes, so I shower there, and I leave there and go straight to work, and I'm ready. I'm ready.
Well, for those of you who are watching us, you can see us on www.people.org. If you go to the right-hand side of the screen, you can click on Live Show. You can also see us on Channel 24, Comcast in Atlanta. You're on My Preventive Health, the second section of the Caribbean Report. And we're talking with this lovely lady, Dr. Robin Hall, who's a principal here in Atlanta, and who's blown away the statistics by losing almost 70 pounds. Over what period of time did you do it?
Over a year.
Over a year.
I started in January.
That is awesome. Now, before, I know that we're running out of time here, and one of the things I wanted, you're a principal in the schooling system.
Yes, in Atlanta Public Schools.
And of course, and obesity is, the weight problems are a major problem in the schools, not only in the Atlanta schools, but in schools across the country and with young people. Do you see this in your schooling system, and do you think that your example might help some of your young people to follow suit?
Well, it is a major focus in the school system and the nation, because we see this as a national problem.
Right.
And one thing that we've done is we have wellness ambassadors. They're student wellness ambassadors.
Fantastic.
And they come up with projects to help promote wellness in the school. So we make sure that we provide healthy choices. As a matter of fact, we're working on a grant right now so that we will be able to get a vending machine that would offer selections like yogurt, fruit, you know, selections that are not available in the traditional vending machines.
Fantastic.
But as a matter of fact, my students are very excited about my weight loss. My parents come and say, Dr. Hall, you look so good.
You look
I've
fantastic.
inspired some of the teachers, and they have also, I have several teachers on the staff who have lost over 50 pounds.
Fantastic.
And my trainer is now doing two calisthenics classes a week for teachers and parents who want to include
you
their
bring your
exercise.
trainer into us, and Dr. Mack, can you tell our audience where they can get more information? There's a website I know, My PH Voice. Can you tell them?
MyPHVoice.com, and from there you could talk to other to anybody else on it. It's an open forum where you could blog back and forth, and then you could trade secrets, because there's always a little tidbit that gives you that edge, and also you can know more about the program through that website.
Sure, myphvoice.com. Well, you are really, I mean, you're, first of all, let me say how much we admire you.
Thank you.
And then thank you so much for sharing your story with other ladies and letting them know that they can do it.
Absolutely.
What was the hardest thing for you, if you had to speak to our audience of ladies out there? What was the hardest thing for you to overcome in doing this?
The hardest thing for me to overcome really was the exercise part. I could get the food, once I was able to manage my caloric intake, carb intake, that was fine, but the weight really did not start coming off until I put the exercise with it.
Well, that's fantastic. And we've got a gentleman coming on who is your counterpart, and we're going to be speaking to him about the exercise part. And we're coming up to a break in the show, but we want to thank you again very much for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me.
Right, and we look forward to having you back and talking with us again about how to do this and how you did this, and cheering other ladies on and letting them know that they too can do this.
Absolutely.
Right? Good. And then, this is the biggest part of the thing we think is really the kids and so on, and we can talk about that. We're going to have to change that really quick because we're running about 5 minutes behind schedule.
L'avenir me paraît sombre, le soleil brille toujours, pourtant je sombre. Plus rien de certain si ce n'est la tombe. Je distingue plus mon chemin, y a trop d'ombre. J'ai fait ce que je pouvais, à défaut d'avoir accompli ce que je voulais. Je suis étonné d'être encore bon, parfois envers ce que je fais, je t'avoue.
MCAI Atlanta is a community of professionals devoted to the art and business of media communications. Our members work in all areas of traditional and new media. And although the tools and technology may vary, we all strive for the same goals: to teach, to market, to motivate, to educate, and often to inspire. And MCAI supports its members in so many different ways.
This organization is always forward-looking.
MCAI allows my employees to grow.
Coming to the meetings gets my creative juices going.
Where you can network with other people.
I meet people from all over the country, all over the world.
There's an outreach to students.
I think people should join the organization because of the relationships.
Valuable relationships that pay off.
MCAI
is a connection place.
It's a whole network of people that have your back.
Whatever our industry segment, we seek to clarify through visual media the spirit, that emotional link which connects one human being with another. MCAI enables us to succeed in that endeavor.
My area of expertise is really in corporate video production and broadcast. But I've been able through MCAI to meet people on the internet side. I'm meeting people that are in technology development, all kinds of different aspects of the business and outside.
You get to meet people that are doing things with some new technologies you may not be familiar with.
From a business development standpoint, the organization helps me through creating relationships with people in MCAI.
I found that getting involved is the best way to get things back from an organization.
The MCAI really has been an important part of professional growth.
I started with MCAI as a student, and through the years it's been great for my professional development, and it's helped me a lot in my career.
Our industry is always changing. When I come to an MCAI meeting, I find out who's doing what, how things are being done, and how our industry is changing.
Media professionals need to know that the MCAI is the organization in Atlanta. There's really no other organization like the MCAI.
And it means a lot of company exposure and personal exposure as well.
MCAI is a great organization, and you should join.
It's a fun place to be.
As you've heard from some of our other members, there are many benefits to an MCAI membership.
Media convergence.
Recognition.
Community service.
Education.
But they don't mean a thing if you don't join us.
So there it is, MCAI Atlanta, a place to grow and network in our constantly evolving careers. Can you afford not to join us?
Que Dieu me pardonne, qu'il m'accorde le repentir avant que ma dernière heure sonne. J'écris peut-être l'un de mes textes les plus poignants, car à cette heure ma vie semble prendre un tournant. Les tourments font suite au rebondissement, comme quoi
Welcome
toi
back
comme
to
moi.
My Preventive Health. We are speaking about the whole problem of weight management. We had on the show, for those of you who are now joining us, we had on the show a lovely lady who was Dr. Hall, who had lost about 70 pounds. And now we want to welcome our male counterpart, Mr. Tapkin. First of all, thank you. I know you are ex-military. Thank you very much for serving. Thank you very much for protecting us. Yeah. But we have you on today because you are the champion of our male weight loss department. Yeah. And I know that you when you went into this program, you lost what? So almost 50.
33 pounds.
Oh yes, about 33 pounds. And that was you were the champion in the male department. Yeah. But tell us a little bit. Why does a man decide to lose weight? And don't the other guys just laugh at him when you say I'm a male, I'm going to be losing weight?
Well, that's true. What happened was, once you get out of the military, you begin and get back to civilian life.
Yes.
You get up in the morning. Now used to jump out in the military, so now you're taking 2 and 3 minutes to get off the bed.
Wow.
And that went on for a while. Then finally you go in, you look in the mirror, and you find out that things, and now you can't
get into your clothes anymore, right?
Yeah, now you want to put your clothes on. Yeah. Now you had 5 buttonholes, and now you only got 2 left. So then that motivated me to, I need to do something about that.
Right.
So that's when I went into TBAB for this lost weight program.
Well, that's very good.
Now, what was your challenges in the beginning? I mean, you're a military, so I know that I have some friends in the military that you keep in shape to the point where, you have your morning PT and so on and so forth as you're going through the years. But at some point, you kind of hit a brick wall, or was there something that, was it a diet, or did you put in more of the carbs into your diet that kind of started expanding the waistline, as you say?
No, for me, I think it was, I use the word mind over matter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mind over matter. Your mind says you should do one thing, but what matters for you, for your health, and for you be around other people to set an example.
Right.
For other people out in the world or wherever you might be migrating, might be going. So that's what really put me in a position that I need to go and do something, not only help myself, I help my fellow man.
Right.
Well, and you ended up being an example within your community or the group of men that you were around?
Absolutely, absolutely. When after military time or during military time, I can see my people, the ones that I would call them in, have a little caucus and explain to them mind over matter again.
Yes, right.
That they need to get involved with this, so they'd be in. So it's like a spiritual thing. You want to go out and say, well, hey, I want to spread the word.
Right.
I help myself.
Right.
Then because I can't help you if I don't help myself first.
Right. So
I thought that was that's been motivated me to do those that way, the challenge.
In other words, you set the example and then other people follow it.
Follow, exactly.
Right, and discipline,
exactly.
of course, is an important, a really important part of the whole weight loss equation.
It is.
Right,
It is.
that is.
It is.
Right. Now, let me ask you, if you had to provide some guidance to the males out there, right, and to the females as well, if you had to provide some guidance, how did you master the discipline factor? What was it that made you stick to your regimen? I mean, it's so easy to fall off the bandwagon.
Yeah, it is. It's all dependent on the person. Now, if it's a single person, or if it's sort of easier than if you're a family person.
Right.
Family person has to cook the meal that's gonna make their families happy.
Right.
Single person say, well, look, I don't have to eat that. I mean, I can go for myself. Now you have to sit down and say, look, the husband and the wife sit down and says, this is what we need to do to make it better for our family. When your neighborhood see our family is doing wonderful things, then they're going to do wonderful things. So that's one reason. That's one way of me helping to help the people.
Now, like you come from a military background, but when, as you said, the waistline was expanding, you were barely getting in those buttons together. Was there, other than that, as we know, obesity also bears a lot of risk factors that come with it: hypertension, diabetes, high cholesterol, and osteoarthritis, you know, joint pain. Were you experiencing any of those symptoms, or did you see anything like that happen? And then to kind of give you a reality check, like you
got to get this weight off.
I never experienced all those things. I guess because of my eating habits of a youngster, as a teenager, I always involved with sports. Sports mean you can't be so heavy to play certain sports. So that made it me. But again, I think it's when I can see a young person that is overweight, and I can explain to him that the words you just said, diabetes and the heart problems and that way. So that way I can say, well, I'm helping this young man. And I've seen that. Then I would start going to a class was given by a good doctor, and start bringing in people. So that really worked out fine that way.
Right. So actually, in your case, you had some teaching, and you had a class environment with peers that were helping you as well, other people in the class.
Yes, absolutely.
And that was that an important part of
that? Because the doctor would, when he started the class, naturally he would go to the board, and he would lay it all out. What bothers you, what could happen to you, and if you came in there with an open mind, you will leave with a good mind. Says, I'm going to really do something about myself. And I spread the word around my neighborhood about this program. Right.
So we're happy to know that you're a teacher. For those of you who are just joining us, we're coming to you from My Preventive Health. You're watching us live on Channel 24, Comcast, or on www.peopletv.org. You can go to the right side of the screen and click on Live Show. And we're speaking with Mr. Tarpkin, who is the champion of our male weight loss department. We're so happy to have you on. Thank you so much for sharing. I know you do a lot of teaching, Dr. Mack. Can you tell us again where we can get some more information on this TAP program that Mr. Tarpkin was?
Definitely. You could go on to www.myphvoice.com and you could know more about the actual weight loss program. And as well, you could speak to your other peers. It's an interactive website. So like I said before, you get little secrets that everyone has, and also share your experience, because the best way, just like Mr. Tarpkin here, he was a teacher. He was a pupil first, and then turned out to become a teacher and taught his community. And now with the internet, we're able to teach other people everywhere around the world.
That is fantastic. And you know, I know that you do a lot of teaching. First, you've served us in a lot of ways. You've served us in the military, thank you, and now you're serving your fellow men by teaching them how to control their weight. And you set a great example, and we're proud of you.
Very proud of you.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about about the kids. Do you know, this obesity becomes a major problem in our kids, and we were talking about, you've got 1 minute left. Tell us a little bit.
Okay, real quick, I can relate to that, because what happens is, if I see a youngster athletically, or where I go, I volunteer at high schools, I would try to meet their parent. And I said, sometimes parents try to make a youngster happy, but it's really hurting. Don't buy what he shouldn't have. And then that way it won't be in the house, and also for yourself.
So you try to tell the parents to set good examples for the children. Well, that's a great way to end this. And so thank you very much for joining us again. Again, we look forward to seeing our audience next week, when we will be discussing some other helpful subjects on preventive health. Our object here is to catch things before they catch you. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next week on My Preventive Health on the Caribbean Report.
Pourtant mon cœur est en naufrage. Je suis qu'un aveugle qu'ils prennent pour guide. Rien qu'un homme que le diable a pris pour cible. Mes péchés sont nombreux, tellement nombreux que je peux pas les dénombrer. Je peux qu'espérer que Dieu me pardonne, qu'il m'accorde le repentir avant que ma dernière heure sonne. J'écris peut-être l'un de mes textes les plus poignants, car à cette heure ma vie semble prendre un tournant. Les tourments font suite au rebondissement, comme quoi, toi comme moi, on n'est pas à l'abri du changement. Mais au fond, ai-je vraiment changé? Je dois constater que pour moi-même, je reste un danger.
Chagrin, tout problème la vie. On passe au plage, pique-nique dans tout petit bal. Ambiance tout partout, musique à violer.